Okay, so today we're going to talk about estimating products. And estimating products, just as a review, a product is a what?
Multiplication answer.
It's the answer to a multiplication problem. Very good. Okay, we have a couple review questions to start out with. Here's our first word problem. It says Jenny is twice as old as Manuel. Jenny is half as old as Gina. Manuel is 12 years old. How old are Gina and Jenny? We have to explain our solution. So first of all, what are we going to do first? Check this out. We have enough information to figure out one other person's age. And whose is it? No, they tell us Manuel's age. So, Jenny's. So we have to first figure out Jenny's age, right? After we figure out Jenny's, then we can move on to Gina's. Okay? All right. Work on your own. So the first thing we have to look at is that we know that Manuel is how old?
12.
Manuel is 12 years old. Okay? So we'll just write man over here for short. Man is 12. And we know that Jenny is twice as old as man, right? So Jenny
24.
is 2
4.
times Manuel. Okay? So 2 times the man. So 2 times 12 is
24.
24.
Are you there?
Then we know that Gina is,
Twice as old.
how do we know that she's twice as old? Because it says Jenny is half as old as Gina. Yes, sir.
Half is splitting in half.
Okay. So if we split Gina's age in half, then we would get
24.
24. Right? So if that means that we need to go Gina. So Gina is going to equal
48.
whatever her number is, x divided by 2 is going to equal the 24 from Jenny's age. Okay? So then we multiply both sides by 2. This gets rid of that. So then we have x equals 24 times 2, which is
48.
48. Very good. Okay? So, we're going to explain our solution. And Manuel is 12, Jenny is 24, and Gina is 48. All right. Moving on. Okay, on your whiteboards in front of you, you're going to do the following 3 problems. Get busy. Forgot I wasn't recording. Okay, next one. So 3 times 9?
27.
3 times 3?
9.
27 plus 9?
36.
9 times 11?
99.
9 times 6?
54.
99 plus 54?
153.
Good job. Good job. So there's your answers right there. Boom, boom, boom. All right, inside your textbooks, we have our examples that are now on the we're going to do it 2 different ways. We're going to do what's called rounding, which you guys are all very, very familiar with. And then we're going to use something called compatible numbers, which is new. But it's very, very similar to rounding. Okay? So the first one, we're going to round just one of the one factor. In this case, we're going to round 12. So we're going to round 12 to the nearest 10. So first of all, let's read our problem. It says, a pet store has 12 gecko lizards for sale. Each gecko lizard costs $92. I say they're overpriced.
Yeah.
About how much money would the store make if it sells 12 gecko lizards? Estimate the product of 92 and 12. So one way is to round one factor. So it's easier to compute 92 times 10 than it is 92 times 12. So we're going to round 12 to the nearest 10, which will give us what? 10. So 92 times 10 is We bring the 0 down. We multiply 1 by each thing. 920. Okay? The next way that we can do this is by rounding both factors. So we round 92 to what? 92 to what?
90.
90. Thank you. And we round 12 to 10. This makes it even simpler because how many zeros are in the problem?
2.
So all I do is put both the zeros down. 9 times 1 is?
9. Oh, 9.
So there's our answer, 900. So far, so good, right? We understand how to round to the nearest 10.
Yes, sir.
Yes, question. You sure can. Our next question is going to do something a little bit different. It's going to use something called compatible numbers. Okay? So this word right here, compatible numbers. A compatible number is a number that only has a digit besides 0 in the greatest place value. Okay? So in this case, we're going to round 92. We're going to round it up. And we're going to round it to 100. And we're going to take 12 and we're still going to round that and we're going to round it to 10. Now how many zeros do I have?
3.
So I put all my zeros down and what's left?
1.
1 times 1, which is
1.
1. Okay? Now, when we use compatible numbers, the estimate is 1,000. Okay? Now, I want you to multiply 92 times 12. I know it says use a calculator, but you guys don't have a calculator. You're going to use your whiteboards in front of you. Go ahead and do it. All right, good job. I see all your whiteboards. They look pretty good. Some of you forgot to regroup. 8 plus 2 is 10. The 1 has to carry over to the 9, and 9, 10, and 11 will give you 1,104. So, this is 1,104. So, the correct answer, if you were going to multiply it all out, is 1,104. Now, we did 3 different estimates. We did an estimate to where we only rounded one number, we did an estimate to where we rounded both numbers, and then we did the compatible numbers. In each one of these cases, the estimates were all either less or greater than the actual product. Which one is it? Were they all less than or all greater than? All right, I have one student in here that thinks that 1,000 is greater than 1,104. And that 900 is greater than 1,104. Would you like to look at it again? So, all of my estimates are what compared to the actual answer?
Less than.
They are all less than. Okay, so there's, if you guys are doing this at home and you need to see the answers, there they are. Very good. All right. Now, how is rounding to estimate similar to using compatible numbers to estimate? Yes, sir. Well, we're adding zeros into the numbers to multiply. So either we're going to round to a certain place value and there's going to be nothing but zeros after that place value. Or when we use compatible numbers, the difference between a number that you round and compatible numbers is compatible numbers will only have a single digit that is not a zero in the entire number. Okay? When you round, you can have more than a single digit without that's not a zero. Because let's say we had 273 and we round to the nearest 10, we can have 270. If you use compatible numbers, 273 is going to become 300. Because it can only have one digit that's not a zero when you're using compatible numbers. Okay? On the independent work that you guys are going to do for homework tonight, that's important. All right. So, now we're going to estimate this number by rounding. And we're going to estimate the same exact multiplication problem by using compatible numbers. So the first one we do, we're going to round this All right, well, first of all, let's read our word problem. It says, in the airport, there are 17 hallways of lockers. Each hallway contains 314 lockers. Estimate 17 times 314 to find out about how many lockers there are in all. So we're going to round to the nearest 10 in our first problem. So 314 is going to become what?
310.
310. Very good. And 17 is going to become 20. Very good. Okay? Now, I have 2 zeros, and then 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So I have 6,200. 6,200 lockers. Okay? And they use these little squiggly lines. You can see them down here. That means about. So if I put my little squiggly lines, that lets you know that it's rounded. It's about that. Okay? Now down here it says estimate by using compatible numbers. So 17 is still going to become what? It's still going to become 20. And that's going to multiply. What's 314 going to become now? Exactly. So by using compatible numbers, I rounded this one to the nearest 10 and this one to the nearest 100. So when we're rounding to estimate, everything's going to be rounded to the same place value. When we're using compatible numbers, we can go to different place values. Okay? How many zeros do I have?
2, 3,
I have 3 zeros. And then I have 2 times 3.
6.
6. So in this case, I have 6,000 lockers. Okay? Very good. Now, 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. Estimate the number of ounces in 133 pounds. Show how you estimate it. Okay, if we're going to estimate this, did it tell us to use compatible numbers? No. So, I have 16 and I have 133. So, what place value would I round it to? Well, if it didn't say use compatible numbers, which place value, if I was going to round this, would I say round both numbers to this place value? The nearest tens, right? Because 16 doesn't have anything. If I said to the nearest 100, it's going to be 0. Okay, so 16 rounded to the nearest 10 is going to be 20. Times 133 rounded to the nearest 10.
130.
130. Which, this is going to give me an answer that's about how many zeros am I going to have?
2.
And 2 times 13 is?
26.
26. So my estimate is about 2,600. So there are about 2,600 ounces and 133 pounds. All right, our guided practice. This is important because our guided practice shows us exactly how I want to see your work done and shown in your homework. Okay? So we're going to round both factors and we're going to use compatible numbers. There's 2 different sections of your homework. One section is going to ask you to round. The other section is going to ask you to use compatible numbers. Make sure you pay attention and read the directions. So when we're rounding, we're going to round to the greatest place value we can round to for both numbers. So in our case here, where it says 32 times 18, we can round to the tens place. So 32 is going to round to 30. 18 will round to 20. I have how many zeros?
2.
2 times 3 is?
6.
And there we go. So the product is about 600. Now using compatible numbers, 98 will become 100. 83 will become
80.
How many zeros do I have?
3.
8 times 1 is?
8.
So my product is about?
80,000.
Very good. Okay. So this is what your homework looks like. You have one section that's going to say estimate by rounding. Your next section, estimate by using compatible numbers. Look at, show how you estimated. Show how you estimated. That means we need to see. Now, so therefore it wouldn't be 220 times 6. It would be 200 times 6. Okay? Which also means over here, make sure you pay attention. Now that one has a tens place in the bottom, huh? Okay? So that's going to be a little bit different. Alright? Okay. You can go ahead and get started. You only have a couple minutes before we have to rotate.